Welcome to Shareholders of a Better World, brought to you by TBLI Group. At TBLI Group, we have an established reputation as an organization dedicated to building the ecosystem of global sustainability and impact investing. We're doing this through educating, advising, and facilitating transactions in global sustainability and impact business, as well as capital solutions for private companies, family offices, and fund groups. For nearly 25 years, TBLI Group has created a vertically integrated ecosystem of education to action through TBLI conferences and TBLI consulting. More about our company can be found at tbligroup.com. This webinar is brought to you by TBLI Foundation, which hosts educational learning experiences dedicated to a better planet. Through the foundation, we build sustainable communities by sharing the people and the experiences making a difference to so many of our lives around the world. Our weekly podcasts bring impact thought leaders that are doing and not only chatting. Now let me introduce my guest today. Good afternoon from what my wife likes to call my man cave here in Amsterdam. Thank you all for coming. For those of you who are not familiar with our system, if you want to make a comment, question, type it in the lower right hand, it might be your left hand corner. There are 3 emojis that you can use to clap, find something funny or brilliant, and it'll capture that. And if you need to send a private message to anyone in the group, just move your cursor or mouse over their name and a window will pop up. So I'm really thrilled today. I have a good friend, actually one of the few true sustainability champions who's actually doing and just chatting about it, Matthew Cook, the co-founder of Sustainable Network. I was really overwhelmed and kind of very impressed with what he was doing and the journey that got him here. So, Matthew, thank you so much for taking the time. And for those who are from outer space and never heard of you, please tell us who you are, what you do, and what are you trying to fix?
That's a very, very kind introduction, Robert. Thank you. And just thank you for everybody for obviously being present in this matter today as well. Really, really appreciate it. So I guess the biggest difficulty with Sustainable Network, it has so many different layers and timelines attached to it. It's probably best I start at the beginning and explain a little bit about my journey and sort of what's led me to this point today, doing the work that we're very, very proud to be doing. My journey started off when I left home at a very, very young age as a very, very troubled young man. And throughout my sort of late teens and early 20s, I was a very ego-driven individual. I trained myself in the art of sales and, sort of slowly grew my way into financial services. But the point I'm sort of trying to make here is that I was a very, very ego-driven individual. I was very, very materialistic, and I was very much focused on my own desires and my own needs. And that can last so long in this world. And I got to about the age of 30, and I lost absolutely everything. Everything I owned, my family, my daughter, money, my businesses, everything went from me. And it was at that point I had a chance to really reassess the gift I had and how I wanted to use this in this world. And at this point was the beginning of my own personal journey, which obviously correlates very much with the support we're providing founders with Sustainable Network, but also as well about the formation of Sustainable Network itself and how could I put these gifts and skills to good use in the world. It was at this point I started to work at a renewable energy brokerage down in Southampton and started to then support and raise funding for a number of private businesses in the climate tech space. And it was at this point I met an incredible founder and a lady named Aparna Gandhi. And she was the great-great-grandniece of the very well-known Mahatma Gandhi. Started raising funding for her and her business, which was involved in the decommissioning of landmines and munitions. It was linked to various NGOs, a continuation of Princess Diana's work. And we performed miracles for her. We raised her money, and she's now out in the world doing the amazing things that she's doing. And we thought, well, there's definitely something here. Maybe by, sort of doing the job that we do, we can make a big impact in this world. And that sort of set me off on the idea of maybe trying to do this on a much wider scale. It was also at this point I was handed my first book by Alpana, which explained to me about consciousness. And this book that was written by a chap called Professor David Hawkins, and it was really the start of my own personal and spiritual development. Now, this also coincided very much with a trip I decided to make to Colombia. Spent 2 weeks staying with some indigenous tribes and using various different plant medicines. And it was at this point where I truly connected with Mother Earth, with God in all its divinity, and I received the first inspiration for Sustainable Network. At that point, I came back to the UK entirely inspired. I met with my now co-founder, Harvey. We were both working within this particular brokerage. We decided to break away and see how we could support more and more businesses that truly need to change the world. We set up a consultancy business and we started raising money for various different sort of sustainability, impact-focused based businesses. But during this point, we really understood how much difficulty that it was founders were facing, not just in raising the right type of capital, but in day-to-day lives, how stressful this was. Watching them interact with VCs who were just suppressing their ideas, their passion, their innovation, and what a difficult journey it was for a founder who was really trying to make a difference in this world. So Harvey and I got our heads together and said, right, what can we do to make a difference in this world? It's not just raising money. How can we provide support, and how can we completely revolutionize this entirely archaic system suppressing this innovation? And that started to draw up the ideas for Sustainable Network. Very early on in our journey, we then met Beata Dunn, who very many in this network will be familiar with. And Beata was absolutely instrumental in allowing us to develop our ideas, our visions, obviously connected to yourself, Robert. And wow, I have to say, hats off. What an amazing, amazing community of people we have met through TBLI that then allowed us to sort of work on the development of Sustainable Network and what we've now actually developed. So much more than just a fundraising platform. It is a community of incredible purpose and values-driven individuals that believe that this world has to work very, very differently to the way that it does currently. And how can we really start to influence the systems of this world and provide the environment within which new tech, new science, new innovation can actually see the light of day? And I think one of the amazing sort of quotes that we worked off was one by Albert Einstein, which is, you can't solve the problems of the past with the same thinking within which you created them. Along the way, I'll share a quick slide showing you some of the team members, but we have just been blessed every step of the way to have met individuals that have really supported on this journey. And I guess the real key behind Sustainable Network is harnessing the power of not just innovation, but also humanity, and bringing people together, different walks of life with different skill sets that combine together to make a real change in this world. And that's led us now to the development of our first step into reforming all of the systems of the world, which will be within the start of the founder ecosystem. And we have developed a new academy program, which we have called the New Earth Entrepreneurs Academy. And the reason for that is, as part of my own spiritual journey and development, I feel very, very strongly that we will be moving into the creation of a new earth. It will be a sustainable earth. It will be one where we learn to live in harmony with ourselves, most importantly, but other people around us from a more elevated state of awareness and consciousness, but also one where we truly understand our place within this world's very, very delicate ecosystem, where we can thrive, we can create a world for future generations. And this is just the beginning of our journey. So I'm talking, but if it's all right with you, I'd love to share a quick slide with you so you can understand the basics of the Academy program, kind of how it compares maybe to traditional systems and what.
You left out a lot of important stuff, which we will get to, but go ahead, please do.
Yeah, no problem. I have a lot to say. And like I said, there's so many different people and timelines and background stories, and it's all incredibly serendipitous, Robert. So bear with me and pull me back. If I share my screen very quickly. Okay. Oops, I'm on the wrong side. Ignore that for now. Can you see my screen, Robert? Excuse me. Can you see the screen, Robert?
Yes, I can.
Lovely, absolutely brilliant. So this is the basis of our sort of New Earth Entrepreneur Academy program, and one that we've called Journey to Full Spectrum Sustainability, which we hope to be a new standard of sustainability for not just early stage businesses to embrace, but also businesses at various special stages as we advance and prove the efficacy of our work. But if we just sort of focus on the center of this slide at the present moment, we have 5 key stakeholders within our system. And at the very, very top of this diagram, our founders, and what we found were a lot of the time they became statistics within a system which was entirely bottom line focused, and with 9 out of 10 fates that they were just sort of subject to their system, really. So we wanted to create something where they were at the pinnacle of the work we were doing, understanding it's through human innovation that we're going to make the change and transformation that we need. Our founders are supported by our industry professionals and our thought leaders that embrace our methodologies that we'll touch on in a moment, but also our investors, who we also are aligning with our own purpose and values, that would be more patient and more methodical in their investment approach, allowing innovation to thrive. And what we're really trying to create are really long-term sustainable businesses that really are able to accelerate our impact. And the two stakeholders you'll see at the bottom of this diagram are also the planet and society. We've tried to create an ecosystem itself which is entirely regenerative, with the planet and society being key focal points of this, and the main benefactors of our process. But essentially, when we come across and we start working with a founder, not only obviously we need to raise patient capital for that founder, but caveat of our involvement and our investment, we are encouraging them to move through our academy program. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll kind of real differentiating factor, which is the inner work that we will do with our founders. And we'll talk a little bit more, I'm sure, about well-being and consciousness and its place, in our opinion, with sustainability. But when we first work with a founder, we really help them understand their core values as an individual. We allow them to develop a true sense of purpose and also understand their own level of consciousness from which they're operating. Once we then feel that a founder is able to lead themselves, we want to take them on conscious leadership development programs, essentially to make sure they can really drive organizations through with a really clear understanding of the impact of their actions on all their stakeholders. Once we can have clearly defined within the business, we can then start shaping that business culture. I think larger organizations very much understand and appreciate the importance of developing culture in the business. Well, we want to put these building blocks in now very early on, but also as we're incorporating well-being programs. 94% of all founders suffer from some form of burnout or anxiety, and it's just unacceptable if we're depending on these incredible individuals to save our species and our planet. So we have specific bespoke wellbeing programs, very holistic in their approach, focus upon understanding the power of your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, how we create and manifest our world from our inner worlds, things like meditation techniques and programs as well. The inner curriculum work that we do is supported by the work of Richard Barrett and the 7 levels of consciousness model, and again through additional support teams as well that base their work around his methodologies. From the outer curriculum side of things as well, which is the sort of change we're looking in this world, we support businesses with their accreditation programs. Now, at Sustainable Network, we have been through B Corp, which we found a very good kind of starting place for us to work on. But it was a very, very expensive process for us. It took a lot of our time, and we wanted to streamline that and at least encourage early stage businesses to start putting in place the right procedures as they scale. So we're aiming and encouraging businesses to really achieve the highest standards of external sustainability moving forward. We also very much appreciate the importance of business being profitable with a triple bottom line focus. And again, commercial strategy is highly important for us, understanding the go-to-market strategy, or lack of typically, can be responsible for most causes of failure in a business, but also then providing some of the additional services as well that traditional accelerator networks may offer within recruitment, marketing, and legal services. And one of the most important services that we offer and the things that we integrate into our ecosystem is the data analytics and measurement work that we do. And we do this alongside Angelica, I think, who's present on this call today, work at Inorbis, that really allows us to prove the efficacy of the work that we're doing, to allow our founders to streamline their approach and their impact towards specific SDG targets, but also let investors see the measured impact of their capital across multiple sectors as well. And what we've actually developed here is an entirely new ecosystem that will regenerate the world, will align impact with the SDGs. Of course, we're falling further and behind on those targets each year, improve the stakeholder well-being of an ecosystem, and accelerate our impact. Well, it was a huge amount of information for people to digest. So I'll just move on very quickly. I just wanted to share the real key and the most important factor of Sustainable Network as well, which is our team and the individuals that are driving this forward. And each member, you'll see on these next 2 slides, have been truly inspirational and instrumental within the development of Sustainable Network. Myself and my co-founder, Harvey, have been sort of driving forward the fundraising side of the business. Sean Blake here has a huge amount of experience in building and developing.
It's froze. Yeah. Okay. They'll be back. No problem. Matt will pop right back in. I guess there might have been a Wi-Fi issue. I want to also thank you all for coming and all of your comments. A couple of things that is important to remember about Matt's work is that they're working not only with helping these startups get going and succeed, because I've seen a lot of accelerators and incubators that basically take shares in the company, but really don't offer very much. And what Matt is doing is very much helping the organization succeed, not only financially. In addition, what he didn't mention is that they're working on this um, basically on almost like a no cure, no pay basis. They were actually pre-funding a lot of these organizations to kind of get them off the ground. And we also help quite a few organizations, but it's very hard because the fundraising process takes a long time, and it's incredibly time consuming, and to find an organization that is willing to do that is just, it's quite, it's, I was just very impressed, and the fact that he went through this kind of breakdown or breakthrough. Um, I hope that he's able to bounce back in shortly, because I think that his internet probably dropped. So I'll be. Oh, wait. Here he is. Here we go. Matt, can you log in again? You've been off. You have to log in again.
I'm just doing it now.
Okay, please do.
Internet's gone into
Yeah, you were kind of kicked out when you were showing that share screen, so try just logging in. Sorry about that. I apologize for that problem. Matt will just be back in a jiffy. And also, what I wanted to know is, what is the criteria for the companies that he's choosing and helping them get off the ground? Because there's really, an awful lot of companies. We get contacted practically daily from companies looking for help in the fundraising, but often it's just not possible because it's so much effort. There we go. You're back.
I'm so, how much of the presentation did you see or not see?
Just the last 20 minutes. We haven't seen. I'm just kidding. No. It's okay. Go ahead. You were talking about the academy. I was trying to give some feedback of the fact that you're not only helping financially these individuals, you're helping on emotional and spiritual level, because most of the accelerators and incubators that I know, they just, they take 60% of your shares and they give you a desk.
Yeah.
And they don't really care if you succeed. You're more selective. So I'd like to you mentioned that the startup system is broken. Why do you think it's broken?
I'd say particularly if you look at the outputs of the system itself from a lot of the research that we actually did, we were looking at obviously primarily the failure rates, with the existing question being, well, how many amazing world-saving ideas are potentially falling victim of this system? Looking at the traditional VC model, we were looking at maybe how success was being defined, sort of very much based upon sort of monetary or bottom line success, and how that could potentially put a huge amount of pressure upon the founder, who are sustainability or impact focused. We were looking at the well-being output of the current startup ecosystem, where 94% of founders are suffering from some form of burnout or anxiety as well. And also the most important factor is that we're falling further and further behind on our SDG targets. And for us, that means that things need to work very differently. And as such, that will depend on the nurturing of new science, tech, and innovation. And we need entirely new systems within which we need to operate to be able to do this.
And how do you find your companies? I mean, do they land on the roof of your car as you drive under a bridge?
Well, I'd love to say the universe has brought us absolutely everything that we've needed at every single right moment, to be honest with you. What we're trying to do is really maintain a very strong air of authenticity throughout the business. And I'm sure many of you probably haven't, I don't know how much of that slide deck you saw or not, but we saw or not. But we've assembled an incredible team of individuals who are very much aligned by their values and their purpose of what we're trying to achieve. And we feel that by holding a very high vibration in the work that we do, we will attract and we will manifest the businesses that we need to along the way. From a more spiritual perspective, again, I'm not sure what you heard as well, is I very much believe in the creation of a new earth. Very much so as well, an earth that is truly sustainable, where we understand the impact of our actions, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions upon ourselves, upon other individuals, and the planet within which we live. And I very much believe that there are souls that are here on this earth at this exact present moment that have incarnated here to make a significant change and contribute towards the well-being of the earth and this system. And I believe that we will attract and we will manifest these souls and individuals to give them the space that they need to grow, to be supported, and to make the impact that they were destined to have here. So a lot of our work is very much about allowing our founders to understand their core values, develop their sense of purpose, and align with the reasons why they came here to do this work.
You said to me that you're not an accelerator, an incubator. You're building a new world. You have a much larger, big purpose, which is fine. But you have to convince investors who might not have that big purpose to invest with you or in your companies. Do you find that difficult?
No, I mean, we've been very, very rigid on the type of investors that we want to work with. I mean, maintaining this purpose and values alignment is necessary within the entire stakeholder system. And that's why, we're encouraging a much more patient approach to investment with us, allowing our founders the opportunity to be nurtured, to receive all of the support they need from a more holistic perspective as well, to allow for the creation of a new wave of truly impact and driven and sustainable businesses. I mean, 50% of startups are failing after year three because of the system in which they operate. We want to create an environment within which, there will be truly sustainable growth within these businesses, and a more patient approach is all we need to allow that to manifest.
And so you went through a kind of breakdown or a breakthrough, depending on how you look at it. So I prefer to call it a breakthrough. And then you went the ayahuasca or other plant-based
Yeah.
experience, and lots of vomiting, lots of clean skin. You look really great after that. And then you found your true purpose and had to rebuild. How long did
Correct.
that take?
About 4 years. I mean, I think it's a lifelong process. I don't think we ever stop learning or ever stop growing. But just from my experience, I mean, I suffered from a lot of mental health problems from a very young age. I was collecting letters, OCD, ADHD, GAD, whatever they were, and for me, it was a very, very difficult journey for me to get to this point. But having really understood the importance of my own personal transformation and focusing on my own well-being, I've been able to overcome a huge number of those difficulties by using a lot of the techniques that we're now obviously passing on to our founders. I mean, 50% of all founders, from the research that we've done, suffer from some form of pre-existing mental health condition. And I've transformed from somebody who was scared to go outside 5 or 6 years ago and scared to be on front of a screen unless I would tick or I would display some of the issues that I suffered with. And I'm now sat in front of everybody here today saying, I'm going to make sure that with my team that we drive forward or we make the changes we need to see in as well to make it a better place. So why would we not want to share those gifts and these experiences onto other founders and other individuals and give them the chance to awaken to their purpose and teach them the skills and techniques they need to go on and make an impact and change in the world?
So I mean, obviously you're not a unicorn hunter just to quickly flip the company and get your 10x and exit. There's a clear, more important
Yeah.
purpose. But a lot of the investors who claim to be values-driven investors or impact investors are really unicorn hunters, chasers,
Mm.
who are really looking to flip the company as quickly as possible and get their 10x to make the
Yeah.
LPs. So you have to be probably quite selective on who you're going to work with, because the other person has to put in the work as well as you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very, very selective. And I mean, we tried to work out for a while what the best way was in identifying the correct business owners to work with. And we actually start off by, we actually use a digital software solution that really allows us to first understand the commercial readiness of a business. I mean, to prove the efficacy of our approach and the importance of personal transformation and, focusing on long-term sustainable patient value creation, we needed to make sure we're working with the right type of founders. So we do have a pretty strict system where we're able to understand where a business is from a commercial perspective. Then it's really a case of understanding what their intentions are, and what impact do they truly want to make in the world? How open are they to doing this work with us? Essentially, how open and what impact do they want to make? And we can then obviously then create a very bespoke program for them through our academy process where we can give them all of the support that they need to go on and make the change they want to make in the world.
What if a company which at first glance seems to be values driven, purpose driven, but they just want to die rich quickly, as quickly as possible? So, how about just giving me the money to grow my company, and let's pass on the exercise? What do you say to them?
We wouldn't take a business on. We don't care how good they look from a monetary perspective. There's a much, much bigger vision for us here as well, which is proving the efficacy of the work that we're doing with our founders. So we'd not be interested in taking that. And before we even engage with a business, they have to actually pass through the gates of Richard Barrett as well and his team. And I mean, he's pretty good at sussing out sort of who's full of rubbish and who's not. But we also are very intuitive in our approach. I think it's quite easy to sense the energy of somebody that's very genuine. So combining, these more sort of commercial sort of due diligence tools with true intuition and the involvement of these thought leaders and industry professionals to give us their true opinion. I mean, we're maybe not going to get it right every time, but we can try our best to make sure we're only working with the most driven individuals, because again, it's about this purpose and values alignment within the ecosystem. And Sustainable Network is so much more than just in an academy program. We really want to change the systems of this world and provide that anchor point. And in order to do so, we have to make sure that all of the members of our stakeholder ecosystem are aligned with us. And as such, we're walking the talk as well. So we're engaging. I'm personally been engaging in a lot of these personal development programs for some time. Beata Dunn is obviously trained up within the Barrett Values leadership work as well. Angelica on our team has been working with Tony Robbins, I know, for many years. And we're moving through the cultural values assessments. And we're off to Germany in a few weeks to spend some time with Richard. Everybody's about to probably delve into their inner childhood issues and bare their soul to each other, which will be incredible team bonding work. And we're walking the talk. We want to lead by example. And I guess we see ourselves as kind of beacons to the rest of the world about, doing this work, setting a very high standard of sustainability, and sharing that message.
What are the investors that you find that support your investments and your company? What are they looking for?
I think the investors that we would like to work with are investors that are really looking at true impact, but really understanding how we can measure that impact. And again, I'm not sure how much of the presentation you did or didn't see, but the work that we're doing with Angelica and Orbis is absolutely crucial and vital in showing our investors the impact of their capital from an environmental, societal, and obviously, of course, financial basis as well. And what we really want to be able to show on a wider scale is that by investing into founders, by doing in the transformational work, by really adhering to the highest standards of sustainability and building these authentic cultures, that you're actually going to make more money as a result anyway, essentially. So, but we're looking for investors that really want to make that change alongside with us and just ensure our founders are given as much support as they need to build these businesses.
And how do you find these six-legged sheep?
It's difficult, and I'm hoping a few more on this call here with us today as well. We're actually integrating kind of where we are as a business. We're very much integrating in, sort of additional screening tools that we can run with our investors. But to be honest with you, again, if we hold this vibration and we stay true to our word, we absolutely trust as part of our journey, the right investors will listen to what we're saying now. What we're saying will resonate, and they'll say, hey, we want to work with these guys and support this initiative.
You have listening to you is like sometimes taking a drink from a fire hose. So you have a lot of energy and a lot of things happening, and then you throw into the mix Angelica Lips, who has even your fire hose. So I'd be curious to see how that conversation uh, goes.
Oh, you wouldn't want to.
Are you focused mainly on only UK companies?
At the moment, it's UK based for now, but that's only just because of we're just sort of finding our way through. We launched a couple of weeks ago of our first portfolio companies, but we very much have the ambition to sort of scale globally as well as we progress. Definitely.
Do you mind if I take a couple of the questions because they're kind of piling up over here?
No worries.
Uh, let's see. Are you available for a date? No, no, that was just kidding. That's great work. Thank you. Welcome. Does a sustainable network from Carolyn, our superhero who fired Shell, does a sustainable network engage with and support nonprofit startup businesses?
Absolutely, it very much does indeed. It's a part of the business we are looking to continue to grow and develop. At the present moment, as I said, we've launched our first two portfolio companies. That's a very, very important part of the work that we want to be able to do, and obviously raise focus and draw attention to these businesses as well. So, absolutely, yes.
Hannes van den Eekhout had wanted to know, how do you maintain the purpose? Is it enshrined in the legal structure of the company and their governance? Oh no, this is going to bring a Beata onto this call. General counsel. Okay. Can you answer that? Could you answer that? How did you maintain that purpose?
Are you bringing Beata on, or are you actually asking
No,
me
no,
to
no,
answer?
no.
Oh, you're
She might,
joking, right?
I
Okay.
asked to join to
The
grab the
answer
mic,
is
but I'm asking you.
The answer is Beata done, 100%. So actually, within our legal frameworks, before we engage in a funding relationship, we will caveat in the full involvement of our full academy process into this procedure. So they will have to engage within this before we would even consider working with them, and it would be legally bound.
Okay, so you've already dealt with that in or setting up the organization.
Absolutely. We'd also hope as well that as we do the inner transformational work and we, ascend these levels of consciousness with our founders as well, that's the way that we truly allow them as well to sort of grow a greater sense of purpose and remain aligned. That continual support, that continual work and personal development, alongside the legal work that we do, will really encourage the founders to maintain that strict sense of purpose with us.
Excuse me. Haluk I cool. I wanted to know, hi Matt, when you refer to patient capital, what type of period do you refer to? Is it,
Got you.
a week? Is it a year?
Again, it slightly depends on sort of what stage it is. Obviously, that particular business that we're funding would be typically the stage of business that we're now working with, which is obviously sort of seed to pre-seed. We're looking at 5 to 7 years as an expectation for our investors to give that business time to grow. It's also about as well allowing that business and understanding that we will be taking this business through our academy process and obviously using that patient value creation from our side as
well. Companies or business plans never follow, they never follow the business plan. It's either worse or better. So when it's worse, that's when you know who your partner is, who your investor is. Are they going to kick you out of the car and take over and drive in a different direction? How do you deal with those bumps in the road, which are inevitable?
We haven't had to deal with them as of yet. Obviously, our plan to deal with them again. It's obviously things aren't always straightforward or easy, and that's when you see the real sort of test of a partnership or a community or a family, which is what we are creating within Sustainable Network and providing that support ecosystem as well. We provide a 2-year ongoing strategic support for all of our businesses as well. So we want to sort of set them up the best that we can to hold their hand. But we're here throughout the entire relationship with that business as well. And we want to, again, we really are motivated and driven by their success and the impact that they can make in the world. So we will go to whatever lengths that we need to support that business through the difficult times. But most importantly, celebrate the good times with them as well.
Have you had any good times?
Sorry, what do you mean? So
have you had any good times with some of the companies? Because how many companies are involved in the sustainable network or that you're supporting?
At the present moment, we have a pipeline of 6 individual projects. I mean, obviously, when we launched this, we have a very, very different approach to sort of sustainability in general. It's a very holistic approach to working with our founders. And of course, we were wondering how that was going to be received. But the uptake has been absolutely incredible. As I said, we have only just launched the business in the last 2 weeks as well. But we do have a very steady pipeline of businesses across a wonderful wide range of sectors and founders from all different walks of life who, from their own experience, have understood the importance of inner development and cultural transformation work. So very well received. And again, we hope to expand upon that pipeline as we grow and develop as well.
Thomas Jepsen from ACT wanted to know, what are your requirements to founders/companies you support?
Again, we're looking at founders specifically that are obviously driven by making a positive impact in this world and looking to align their work with the Sustainable Development Goals. We look for a willingness and an openness to engage with us and commit to our academy type process. And I said that's it. It's the openness to engage and trust that working with us and our system and to form that relationship with us.
And how do you avoid? Another question he had is, Thomas, how do you avoid it being too rigid for the founders?
If you're talking about the academy process, I mean, it's an enjoyable process to go on. And before we actually engage, we do complete a number of assessments and sort of a gap analysis, really, to understand the existing strengths of that particular founder or business. And we're just highlighting areas within which we feel that our involvement or support and help will really nurture and help that founder along their journey. We do also understand there is a business to run at the same time. So the programs we run are normally over an extended 18-month to 2-year period as well. So we try and make them as friendly and open as possible. We're setting up our individual community support groups within our founder networks. So founders are able to discuss and sort of share and their own growth and development within other founders within our network as well.
Alex Zita wanted to know, after you and your portfolio business work out the impact you all want to create, how do you measure the impact going forward long term?
Is this where you can bring Angelica onto the call as well?
No, because it'll go for 4 hours and she won't.
You don't want to get us both on the same call at the same time, honestly.
No,
I mean, everybody.
It's like 2 fire hoses coming at you.
You'll be drowning there, Robert, very slowly in the background. The measurement work that we do, and again, it's probably a better follow-up call to have a question that Angela could maybe answer after this as well. The magic of sustainable networkers, we will have our own skill sets and areas of expertise, and the work that's done by Norbis. And I do apologise, I had been through this on the last slide. I think we must have cut off. But the work we do with Norbis provides a very, very different way of impact and measurement for us. And it allows our investors to really see the measured impact of their investment across 12 key capital categories that cover financial, environmental, societal, and cultural impact as well. And we're developing an investor dashboard at the present moment within Orbis so we can monitor this impact moving forward. And what that also allows us to do is lets our founders really set their intention very early on in the business, and we can then align the growth of that business with specific SDG targets by, of course, measuring their progress as we go along, which also provides sort of risk management tools as well for our founders to use.
And just to correct me if I'm wrong, the intention is also to expand to outside of the UK to other European countries or European companies.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Then Hella Henges, that's an interesting name, would be an assumption that, when having a continued guidance support of the organizations along the way, thus patient capital, there would be by default a better success rate compared with actual systems. Do you believe
we
that?
Very much hope so. Again, sorry, I'm probably going to repeat myself. I don't know what you saw earlier, but we really hope that by the involvement of our particular program, we will reverse these failure rates. Such a waste seeing 9 out of 10 businesses failing in this particular space. We will be looking at improving the well-being of all of the stakeholders within the system itself, and allowing for the creation of truly sustainable impact-driven businesses as well that make the impact that we need to see. And as I said, if we can show that this sort of approach also increases return on investment as well for our investors, and we've got a truly incredible regenerative system that we hope would be adopted by businesses, way above and beyond the startup world as well.
Harriet Brainard wanted to know, do you find that the investors are understanding the importance of systemic change, therefore patient capital? I find that there are growing numbers of impact firms. However, the group that understands long-term investment in change, building a structure, is not as expansive. In addition, the metrics around nature-based solutions are usually more nuanced. Do investors you are speaking with understand these issues? How fast will you expand? I think she's waiting for a check from you.
Well, this is what my job is, right? I need to be able to really show and prove, how this sort of approach will benefit an investor. I mean, a lot of the data we use is linked back to the work we do with Richard Barrett and the Barrett's Value Center about the importance of developing a strong culture and how firms of endearment are typically outperforming the rest of the marketplace as well by offering that sort of that long-term stakeholder value. And again, a strong culture is created by doing personal development work, working with particular leaders, and building these conscious cultures within businesses. So again, uptake again as well so far has been great. We've only really been dealing currently with, because of our previous experience, private sort of high net worth, sophisticated professional investors, and more people are, I think, aligning with our way of doing things. We're now reaching out sort of more into the sort of more institutional type world, and I guess I hope to think that approach will be picked up as well, and maybe many on this call are looking to support us as well would align with this and be looking to support us from an investment perspective.
Before I take any more questions, I had a question myself. Your fundraising takes time. It's not, it's cleaning toilets. It's not fun. You got to do it every day. And you have to constantly chase, and it's a lot of time consuming. Sometimes the founders give up after you've taken them on and you've got the money. No, we're exhausted. We can't go any further. And I've experienced that a lot. Have you ever experienced that?
I haven't experienced that myself. I have seen some founders hit burnout, but I think that's really because of the system within which they're operating. And the idea would be that our particular system would certainly counteract those issues and provide the environment. I mean, we provide very specific wellbeing programs for our founders as well, really understanding how to support and them on their own journey with a view of understanding the power of our mind, our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions, the power of meditation, and how our internal world, directly correlates to our external world. So we feel that our specific tailored programs will help eradicate those types of issues for founders moving forward, simply because we've created a new system.
Mm-hmm. Claudine Schneider wanted to know, are you supporting or accelerating any startups that are addressing the present moment energy challenges now that are resulting from the Ukrainian-Russian conflict?
We are indeed. Are you actually working for that company, or is this one of our founders that's maybe put under a pseudonym or something? We very, very much are as well. We're supporting a group at the moment called Power Transition. You have an incredible energy management trading system currently, which will look at basically managing these issues directly and reducing the cost of energy by around about 50%. So the answer to that as well is log on to our website, sign up as an investor, and have a look at the information on there. The company name is Power Transition.
Guy Penard wanted to know, great novel model for helping startups. How do you keep your organization financially alive? Who pays your bills? So basically, Matt hasn't told anybody, even himself, that he's a secret billionaire.
I wish. Business was self-funded by the co-founding team originally to get it up and moving. We've then we did a very small fundraising round sort of the beginning of this year as well, just from an SCIS and EIS perspective. But we've been entirely self-funded. We've had a group of investors wrapped around us that have really believed in what we're trying to achieve in the world. We are now in a position where we are actually looking very openly and honestly for more significant investment now to take the business forward, to really invest into the development of the Academy program, and then, of course, allow us to scale this initiative as well. And actually sort of develop some of our own internal consultancy programs that we can then bring to businesses outside of the Academy program. I mean, working with startups is really just the beginning of our approach. I mean, we haven't sort of spoke too much about my views on consciousness and sustainability and why it's so important as a well-being as well. But we truly believe that the fate of this world and this planet is going to be dependent upon global shifts in consciousness and awareness on an organizational and societal level. And it all starts by doing the inner transformational work on an individual level. We are all one consciousness. We are all interconnected, and we need to bring that concept and that reality, that universal truth back into the world. And we're using business as our first tool of healing to prove that by doing that in a transformational work, not only does it feel good as an individual and allow you to awaken to your purpose and allow you to make change, but you're directly contributing to the collective consciousness as well. You're healing ancestral timelines way and beyond this journey. And the key to sustainability and the key to undoing the damage we've done is by the inner healing journey that we have, because our external worlds are direct reflections of our inner worlds. And it's only by doing that inner work on a personal, organizational, societal level that we're going to make any change or difference in the world. So we're using business as a tool, as a Trojan horse at this particular stage, not only to reform the business world and get this technology into the world, but also show people the power of healing from inside as well. I had to get that in there, sorry.
No. That,
Time's running out.
We'd never censor anything other than, bad behavior. So what is you mentioned about investors investing, but you have 6 portfolio companies. Mm-hmm. What are you offering? Are you offering investors to invest in sustainable network, or are you creating carve-outs? I like the energy ones, but I'm not really interested in the other one.
Yeah. Both at the present moment as well. I mean, we're really looking for those aligned. We've worked incredibly hard as a team, as a collective. Everybody in the Sustainable Network team has contributed so heavily into this. We are looking for a real, true, revolutionary, change-making individual that really wants to break down the systems of this world one by one. So Sustainable Net, we are looking for that aligned investor to help us scale our methodologies and invest into our academy 100%. But again, as well, we are looking for individual investors that believe, hey, we think this academy program will reverse failure rates, it will make more money, and it will create the new wave of sustainable businesses. So yeah, we are looking for investment into those portfolio companies as well. We need to help manifest these ideas into a reality, and we do provide a very diverse range of businesses across multiple sectors because everybody's got different tastes.
So it's structured as what, a fund or a company?
Currently at the moment, I mean, we are raising money for businesses on a sort of individual or sort of syndicated basis, essentially. We have every dream and ambition of maybe launching into a fund structure, but we want to prove the efficacy of our work first, which is certainly why the work we do within Orbis is what it's.
Oh wait, I see Beata writing a disclaimer already over here.
I don't know. Is she clapping? I don't know. Is she laughing?
Yeah, she's clapping. And for you, I mean, it's a mission-driven story here. You see the energy that you're putting into it. It gives you lots of energy. And Matt is like this all the time. He sleeps with his eyes open also. So he has a lot of energy. I had a couple still quite a lot of questions coming in. Which one over here? Haluk wanted to know what kind of check size for the network and for the portfolio companies. We'll take that question and go back to Joachim, and then a few others. If you could address that, what's a check size that you're looking for?
Blank one would be lovely, if you don't mind, for Sustainable Network, and we'll work that one out later. I mean, the raises that we are looking at sort of typically for the individual portfolio companies, if we start there and we can have any follow-up conversations about Sustainable Network after the call, we're looking at raises between sort of 1.5 and 2.5 million. But again, for us, it's really more about who is the investor, how aligned are they with the business, how can they support, do they really truly believe in what we're trying to achieve, and how can they align with that business to get that kind of vibration right between the investors and the businesses. So that's probably my answer. And
for the portfolio companies, the average raise is?
At the moment, between kind of 1.5 and 2 million. That's just sort of where we're set at the moment. There's a couple more businesses we're working with now, looking sort of around the sort of 5 million mark. That's just what the universe has sort of given us as the most appropriate businesses to move with first.
Okay. Joachim, to know, who is one of your inspirations for personal growth that you recommend to entrepreneurs, and have you worked with Bob Proctor at all?
I'm aware of Bob Proctor. I haven't worked with him. I think Angelica may have done, actually, I think at one particular point. I mean, I'd probably say I've been inspired by so many. I mean, the work of Joe Dispenza for me was absolutely incredible for me. and the power of my own mind and consciousness, and the work of Richard Barrett. I mean, I hope he's on this call listening. The work of Richard Barrett is really just amazing, and it summarizes things so well. But also as well, I mean, a big shout as well to Juan Campo, who is one of our foundings as well. He's been studying under Richard for many years. I've been working with him individually for a couple of months now, and he's written a book called Mind Canvas. You're going to owe me for this one afterwards, but it's really an incredible way of summarizing all of the personal development work I've done, understanding the power of the mind, the power of this, how it controls our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and of course creates our outer world. And he's developed a methodology that helps you understand. And from somebody that suffered terribly with OCD and anxiety, I either lived in the past negative or I lived in the future negative, never present. And it wasn't until I understood the power of presence that I was able to awaken to my purpose as well. So he has a particular book that brings these methodologies together and allows us to really, truly control our mind. So Juan Campo, Mind Canvas would be my final answer.
Okay. Stuart McIntosh wanted, hey, Matthew, thanks for your candid presentation. Do you feel that Sustainable Network might support scaling of open source tech to drive global change in digital health?
Absolutely. I mean, sort of healthcare and health tech is an area that we would like to work on. You know, we have built an incredible core team of individuals who've been instrumental in the development of Sustainable Network. We want to continue developing and finding additional partners that can help us grow and scale our business and approach these different areas. We've built the core, we've got the basis of this model now, and it is about aligning with the right people to expand these. So, I mean, we're open to conversations as long as we're doing good and we're aligning and we're making positive change in this world. We're really open to exploring any partnership.
Okay. Chiara had a different question. What if your founders are already long in the tooth sustainability folk and their consciousness is quite well tuned, supposedly?
Yep.
Instead, they need help on the startup investment side of things. Do
Yep.
they still need to go through the well-being consciousness academic training ayahuasca vomiting period?
No, the ayahuasca vomiting is certainly something which would be optional. I mean, I'm always looking for ayahuasca buddies, to hold my hand and cry with whilst I purge. But no, it's not. We perform a gap analysis to begin with. So PH3 Capital will look at the commercial side of the business. Richard Barrett and Juan will work with the founders. And if they're really on that journey, great. For us, that's kind of mitigated that risk. We know they're making that impact, and we will just provide the support they need in the right areas for them as well. So we're not kind of sort of being dictatory with what we're doing. We're just saying, hey, all of these services are available to you. It's a one-stop shop. It's holistic. It's 360. And we'll dip and choose what you need to support you on your journey. We're not too rigid.
What do your former colleagues in your previous life, in the boiler room selling, have you had any contact with them?
So with people,
what the hell are you doing now? I mean, in your previous life you have still some contact. What do they think of what you're doing?
To be honest with you, when I went through my spiritual transformation awakening, I separated from salespeople that were maybe more driven by money than anything else. Their views and opinions would mean very little to me at this present moment. My purpose is very clear, aligned, and driven. And again, if they don't align with us now, at some point they're going to have to in the future, because this will be the way the world's working. So at some point they'll have to come along for the ride, or not.
What can this audience do that's watching live, and those that will watch the replay, which is the vast majority? What can they do to help you, other than a check?
Other than a check, I mean, as well, to sort of spread and share the message of what it is that we're doing here at Sustainable Network as well. I mean, we're looking at reforming, a lot of different sectors in this space, but to do so, we need to develop the new businesses and leaders to make those impacts and those change. So I guess we're looking to connect with anybody that resonates with our message, that is impact driven, to see how we could work together. The basis of this is a network. It is a community, and how we can grow and develop that community to do more good. We're harnessing the power of human love and innovation. But yeah, I mean, apart from, obviously where we really genuinely are is the fact we have amazing businesses that will transform the world. And we do need that, so that sort of financial support to really get off the ground and move. But it is about connection. It is about people, and any further introductions would be incredible for us to expand the network.
And so this is your mission um, but you can only help a certain number of people in the present and I'm sure you get overloaded and after this lots and lots of people, so how do you go faster than the music?
How do I go faster than the music? Can you rephrase that question?
Well, how can you speed up because the demand is bigger than the capacity, and I'm sure after this there'll be even more people knocking on your door.
The amazing thing about Sustainable Network is the team of absolute superstars we have supporting this initiative, essentially. So we have a huge, huge team of amazing people behind us. And I did take the time to go through individually on the slide deck, but I'd like to share that as well with everybody on this call so you can see the incredible thought leaders and world changers behind this initiative. And I guess the query will be for us to scale, kind of as quickly as we can to help as many people as possible. But at this particular stage, very, very firm that everybody that we need to align with to make this happen will be given to us, will be presented. And TBLI has been an amazing way of us connecting with the right type of people. I am new to impact. I am new to sustainability.
Everybody is new to impact,
You
even
know,
the ones that claim to be doing it forever. There's so many frauds and fakes and people who are, kind of grotesque bodies with a new coat trying to show that they're cool. I get a bit tired of it. And it's unfortunate that the ones doing the most, like yourself, are talking the least, and the ones doing the least are talking the most. And that's why we do these events. And that's why also I turn down a lot of people who want to, hey, I've got something to sell. Let me come on your talk. So we're very selective as to who we choose. We want to highlight the people that are actually doing it and not just chatting about it. And you're doing that, and you're doing it in heavy lifting. You're not just raising money; you're raising the whole business community.
global consciousness at some point, Robert, remember as well. This is just the beginning, my friend, of the bigger journey that was downloaded to many ayahuasca as well.
Okay.
But no, what I was saying was, is TBLI peers. I've heard horror stories, right? Greenwashing, sustainability world that you will all be more familiar with, I'm sure, than me. But what I've learned from TBLI is I've just connected with the most incredible people, and I don't want to keep trying to name names because I'll forget and I'll upset people. But even, Jacob and Chloe Isimo, the video production we've been able to work with as well. And for Beata, it wasn't for Beata and our instrumental vision, we would never would have even been introduced to, TBLI as well. And Robert, every single part of Sustainable Network has come and originated from TBLI. I mean, so I want to say a big thank you to you and the amazing work that you've been doing to help make this possible.
Well,
So,
it's been a pleasure because you do something that many don't. You actually deliver and you execute. Lots of people come to us with ideas, said, okay, go ahead, do that, or call me back. I'm not, it's a big ask. Call me back. So most people don't. They have lots of ideas, but they can't execute. So I want to compliment you on that. We're coming to the end of the hour, and I promised everyone there would be a mixer after that. So I want to just take a group selfie, if that's okay with you. All you need to do is wave to the camera. It'll make a photo of yourself, and then it will make a photo of other people, and it will collate that into one big postcard that we will then send to everyone. So just wave to the camera. It'll take your photo, and you can prove to your partner or boss that you are actually working today. I want to thank our entire production crew for making this webinar possible. Sam, our producer, crypto genius, ramen critic, and DJing in Seoul this weekend. Ricky, my absolute better half with no filter, finally coming home next week. Xi Jinping, my head of transparency and integrity. Vladimir Putin, the military strategy and human relations advisor. Elon Musk, our humility coach. Liz Truss, responsible for U-turn driving instructions. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the MacArthur Genius Award for Stupidity. So I want to thank you all, and particularly Matt. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. It's much, much more than just, finding a couple of checks for people. You're fundamentally changing the way that business is operating and should operate. And also, this is our first time we're getting so many people to take the group selfie. So this is also a milestone for us. So thank you all very, very much. Don't leave unless you want to. We're going to go right into the mixer in about a few seconds. I think there's a few other people that wanted to wave to the camera, and I'll send everybody a link to the replay, and we'll add a few bits of information about Matt and the work, the Sustainable Network. In addition, we'll send you, if Matt's okay, those 3 slides, which seem to have a technical issue. I apologize for that. So I'm going to end the group selfie here, and we will then, let's do that. And we're going to go right into the mixer. So see you. Oh. You don't have to do anything. The system will connect you for